Number two, the number two thing where you can hinder yourself, I want to talk about today, is the entitlement mentality. The entitlement mentality. You see it in operation in people's lives every now and then. Let's turn to Matthew chapter 20. In discussing the entitlement mentality, let's go to Matthew chapter 20. I read from verse 10 to 15. Matthew 20:10 says, Jesus talked of a man that went out in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard, a landowner that went out in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. And he went out, say by 6 a.m. and saw in the labor pool people that were around, so he picked some and then negotiated with them. Let's say they agreed on 3,000 naira a day for their labor. So 6 a.m. he hired them. He said, okay. They agreed on 3,000 naira. He said, okay, begin to work. Then he went out again at 9 a.m. and saw some other laborers. He said, why are you not doing anything? They said, nobody has hired us. He said, okay, come and work for me. Whatever is good, at the end of the day, I pay you. They agreed, went with him. They didn't negotiate. So they worked for him. They began to work. He went out at 12 noon, saw some other laborers the same way. Why are you idling around? They said, nobody has hired us. He said, why don't you come and work for me? Whatever is good, I pay you. So they joined the workforce for the day. At 3 p.m., he went out and saw some other people still, and they agreed to work with him. Whatever is good, I pay you. Then he went out at 5 p.m., 1 more hour to closing time for the day's labor, and met some laborers still hanging around. He asked them, why are you still here? You're not doing anything. He said, nobody has hired us. For them to have waited that long, man, they had patience. God rewarded their patience. So he said, okay, why don't you work for me? They just had 1 hour to work. Whatever is good at the end of the day, I pay you. Remember those? He has agreed for 3,000 naira with those that started at 6 a.m. So now, let's read from verse 10, Matthew 20 now. So now, they had finished. It was now 6 p.m. and it was time to dismiss the laborers, pay them and dismiss them. So he began from those that came last. Those that came by 5 p.m., he gave them 3,000 naira. Those that came by 3, when the people that came by 6 a.m. saw that, they began to rejoice. Say, that means we are going to earn more today. So he paid down their 3,000. He came to those that came by 6 a.m. and he paid them 3,000 naira. The same thing that he agreed with them on. So let's read from verse 10. But when the first came, they supposed that they would have received more. And they likewise received each a denarius. And when they had received it, they complained against the landowner, saying, these last men have worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who have borne the burden and the heat of the day. But he answered one of them and said, friend, I'm doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take what is yours and go your way. I wish to give to this last man the same as to you. Is it not lawful for me to do what I wish with my own things? Or is your eye evil because I'm good? And he says, so the last shall be first and the first shall be last. For many are called, but few are chosen. Okay, that's the way Jesus concluded that. Now, the entitlement mentality is the mentality that people put on at times. Somebody owes me something. Somebody owes me something. Even if you have nothing to offer, you feel that somebody owes you something. That you're owed something when most people around you have a different opinion about the situation. They do not see your point. People around you don't see how you are owed anything. Yet you feel somebody owes you something. Entitlement. I came first. I did this. I did that. You see, an entitled person has a state of mind that believes that privileges are rights and expects them as a matter of course. Things you give to that person as a privilege, he thinks they are his right and begins to claim them as his right. entitlement. With that attitude, you will have a hard time reaching your goal or desires, and you will likely not maximize your potential in life. In life, there are many people that have all kinds of sense of entitlement. I'm doing this, so I'm entitled to this. I'm this person, so I'm entitled to that. People lay claim to all types of rights nowadays. Firstborn, lastborn, middleborn, no-born, women right, man right, child right, animal right, gay right, every right. People that are entitled, remember, always feel that somebody owes them something. But those around don't see it the same way. They don't see their point. Entitled people have the following characteristics. You can know them by these characteristics. Number one, a lack of appreciation for the sacrifice of others. They don't care what others, the price others paid to get to that thing he feels he has a share in, or that is his due. They don't appreciate other people's sacrifices. They're so preoccupied, so much into themselves and their right, that they can't appreciate other people's sacrifices. And these things affect many people. But you see, there are some people that are trapped in this entitlement thing that they can't make progress. Whenever you see people that have been stopped in life because of the fact that they're the last born. They're the last born, and so every other person that came before them, has to solve their problem for them. Last born. That entitlement mentality has stopped many so-called last borns from making progress in life. It has even stopped firstborns who will not make efforts on their own. They are waiting for inheritance. It's my entitlement. And so they are ready to fight if anybody shares in that inheritance. That's an entitlement mentality. When there is something to share, that mentality comes alive. But when there is a responsibility, you don't see the display of that mentality much. Somebody owes me something. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. Number two, that's characteristics of entitled people. Lack of personal responsibility. They don't take responsibility for things. They sit down and they're dealers. They're always looking for deal than their share in the deal. They don't take charge. They don't take responsibility for things to happen. They expect others to solve their problems. And even while others are solving that problem, they will not accept that the problem was their own making in the first place. They will always see it as something another person caused for them. So you have to solve it. They don't accept. They don't accept. Sometimes it's like, it's what I found myself in. They will not accept that they were part of that problem, creating that problem. That is of their own making. So they live in a kind of denial, unwilling to acknowledge their fault or error, or even their role in bringing that problem to themselves. They will not acknowledge it. And so they tend to lack personal responsibility for their lives and their outcomes in life. Number three, entitled people have the inability to accept that actions carry consequences or actions have consequences. Entitled people feel they can do anything and there are no consequences to it. They can get away with anything. Because in the first place, it's their right to be this and their right to take that. And so even when they are doing things that will hurt them, They are not conscious. They don't accept that there are consequences to the actions. So they deny Newton's third law. Newton's third law says that action and reaction are equal and opposite. They feel they can do things, be careless in life, and there is no consequence. I can live a lousy life, I can revel, I can do this, I can do that, I can live my life, and there is no consequence. At the end of the day, I should still have what belongs to me. Newton's third law says, to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Actions have consequences. Decisions have consequences. You can't deny the consequences. You can take all the decisions you want to, but there are consequences. You can't decide the consequences. So entitled people think they can eat their cake and have it, because there is no consequence for the action. Whatever they do, they still have their right. They arrogantly assume that privileges are a show of their merit. No matter what you do for an entitled person, he thinks he merited it. It's something he deserves. So to say thank you is a problem to them. They think it's when you give them a privilege, which maybe others you've not even given to them, they think is their right. And once people think something is their right, they can never be really grateful. What's the solution to this? The solution to visionlessness is to have a vision. Pray out a vision. Seek a vision. Devise, have a plan. Make a plan before you set out or before you go far. What's the solution to this sense of entitlement? Is there in the Bible? Look at Joshua chapter 1 verse 8. Joshua 1:8. It says, this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night. You shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. Take action. He says, for then, in so doing, for then you will make your way prosperous, and you will have good success. Who will make your way prosperous? You. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. You have to take personal responsibility for your own prosperity, for your own progress in life, and for your own success. You have to know you're responsible, not another person. Nobody can live two lives. I can only live one life. And you have one life to live. I can't live my life and live your life for you. Is this entitlement mentality that killed Adonijah? First of all, he coveted the throne as the surviving oldest child of David. It's my right. And when David let them know that it's not his right, the next thing is that he was coveting Abishag. Give me Abishag. And that's the one that eventually killed him.